Welcome back to the Toffee Booze, your source for all things Everton. I'm Ollie Hayes, and today I'm bringing the Start 11 show for our FA Cup fourth round tie versus AFC Bournemouth at Goodison Park. So let's get straight into it, hoping for a bit of a cup run this year, aren't we? And to be on the march with Moyes' army off to Wembley in April or May. But obviously it's going to be a very tough game against Bournemouth. But I'll get into my starting 11. I'm going to start with Jordan Pickford in goal. It was relatively untested last week against Leicester at Goodison. I can, off the top of my head, I can picture one shot that he had to save. The rest were either way wide or skied into the Gladys Street end. So fingers crossed he can put a little bit of a run together now and build on that clean sheet against Leicester. Obviously the clean sheet against Brighton as well away from home, which was fantastic. So fingers crossed he can put a bit of a run together. But we know how crucial Jordan Pickford is when called upon. And I'm thinking against the Bournemouth side who are banging form and score goals aplenty. I think we are going to need to see Jordan Pickford on top form on Saturday. But I'll move into the defence now. I think Vitaly Mykolenko is going to keep his place at left back. For me, under David Moyes, he's been much improved. I think towards the back end of Sean Dyche's tenure, he was really struggling in an Everton shirt, and a lot of people were calling for him to either be replaced or a new left back to be signed, for example, in January in the January transfer window. Obviously, that didn't happen. We only signed Carlos Alcaraz, so. Mikalenko's been fine. I think he's been much improved. So I think he's, the man to take us forward at left back at least till the end of the season. And I think he'll keep his place for the FA Cup game on Saturday at Goodison Park. And then moving into the two centre halves, I think Branthwaite and Tarkowski will keep that partnership going. They're both playing much better. They're both playing well. I think they've looked a lot more assured of each other. I think, we saw at times under Sean Dyche that they looked a little bit nervous. They looked a little bit nervous playing out from the back because that was clearly something they weren't being told to do. But Moyes just kind of simplified things and said that they can play out from the back, and I think they look a lot more assured doing it. So, there's every credit to David Moyes coming in and tweaking a few things, and I think Branthwaite and Tarkowski will keep their place and keep that partnership going, and then moving to sort of right back. Can we coin it the Joleon Lescott role? I think we can. I think Jake O'Brien's going to keep his place there. For me, I think he's been the star of David Moyes' return to the football club. He was completely, he was kind of frozen out under Sean Dyche. He didn't get a look in at all. Was deemed not Premier League ready. I think people were sniffing around him for a loan in the January transfer window, but no, Moyes has come in and he's come into the side. Jake O'Brien, I think he's been absolutely fantastic. So every credit to him. Hopefully, he can build on those good performances and keep us going. But I do think he'll sort of play that right back, wide centre half role on Saturday afternoon against Bournemouth. But now moving into the midfield, I think James Garner will keep his place, and we've got to talk about that assist once again. I think I've watched it about 50 times now. The assist for Beto against Leicester. Obviously, we know what kind of player James Garner is on his day. He offers that much needed technical ability that can, as we saw against Leicester, put in a defence splitting pass, and one touch for Beto was all he needed to put it past the Leicester goalkeeper. And I can talk about that as many times as I want this season. It's such a fantastic assist, but I do think James Garner will keep his place in the side on Saturday afternoon. And then moving to his midfield partner, obviously we know that it would have been Orel Mangala and Idrissa Gana Gueye as the usual midfield pairing. Obviously his injury has kind of ruled that out for the rest of the season. So I think Idrissa Gana Gueye and James Garner will be the partnership in midfield. Idrissa Gana Gueye is just a Rolls Royce of a midfielder, isn't he? He's so good, so assured. He's that much needed experience that we need in the midfield, and I think he's been fantastic for weeks now. So every credit to him. Let's fingers crossed he can keep that going. But moving to a bit further forward, I think in midfield as well, I think Abdoulaye Doucouré will keep his place. In my opinion, I thought he was fantastic against Leicester. Some might not agree. Obviously, scoring after 10 seconds, which may jade the opinion of some people on his overall performance. But I did think he had a good game. I think he set the press really well. I think he was energetic, and when on form, Abdoulaye Doucouré is very good for a structure and setting the press. So fingers crossed he can keep that going and put in another good performance like he did against Leicester. But I think that completes my midfield three of James Garner, Idrissa Gana Gueye, and Abdoulaye Doucouré. Then moving into the sort of attacking line, I'm going to say attacking line quite loosely because I'll start at right wing, and I think Jesper Lindstrom will keep his place. Obviously, we've seen under David Moyes that he's been kind of playing that wing back role. I think he'll keep his place in that role. He's really found form under David Moyes. He's just desperate for that goal. Obviously, he had a big chance at the Gladys Street end, which he hit straight at the keeper's legs and was shortly after substituted. So fingers crossed he can get off the mark for Everton this weekend and just try and put a little bit more into his goal scoring ability, because I think he's doing everything else right in an Everton shirt at the moment. But fingers crossed he can just get that ball over the line and try and put a little bit of a run together in that sense. But moving to the left hand side, I think Iliman Jai will keep his place. This one goes without saying. I think he's our best player on his day. He's an absolute machine, that boy, isn't he? He's class personified. I'm running out of adjectives to describe the boy. He's just such a fantastic player. He's going to be vital for us on Saturday afternoon. A good team like Bournemouth coming to Goodison Park. We know the form that they're in. Obviously, smashing Nottingham Forest 5-0 a couple of weeks ago. We know that they are in free scoring form. But if we can match fire with fire there and use Iliman Ndiaye's pace and his power and his finishing ability, fingers crossed we can really do some damage. And I think Iliman Ndiaye keeping his place on that left wing is going to be vital to doing that. But moving to the striker, obviously we know that there's not much choice anymore. I think what 4 or 5 weeks ago we had four striking options. We're now down to one with everyone being injured. I think Beto will keep his place, and rightly so. I think even if everyone had been fit, I would have called for Beto to keep his place because I thought he was absolutely fantastic last weekend. Did exactly what he needed to do. Was given two chances in front of goal and slotted them both home. And fingers crossed now he can utilise that for a bit of confidence and put a run together. But that is my starting lineup. I'll go through it one more time. So it's Jordan Pickford in goal, Vitaly Mikalenko, Jared Branthwaite, James Tarkowski, and Jake O'Brien as your back four, kind of. Idrissa Gana Gueye, James Garner, and Abdoulaye Doucouré in midfield. Iliman Ndiaye off the left. Jesper Lindstrom off the right, Beto up front. And a lot of you will know that that's obviously unchanged. I think Moyes seems to have found his best side now. So why not stick with it? Why not keep a bit of consistency and moving forward? Having this as your best starting 11 and just trying to get them to know as much about each other on the pitch and start putting a run together. But that is all from me today. Let me know your thoughts in the comments about this starting 11. Do you think, obviously with it being an FA Cup game, do you think Moyes is going to rotate a little bit more? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, and I'll speak to you soon.